Hi, hello, welcome, and welcome back to my channel where I talk about books. I don't know about you, but I am already in the mood for autumn. And as much as I like the summertime, I am so excited for the fall. So I have put together a list of books that I want to read this fall season. That have either taken place in like autumn time or just have this general moody fall vibe to it, or just stories that I think that just great to read specifically in fall time. This is going to be a mixture of very atmospheric fall books, any sort of cozy, cute, or humorous stories that just gonna make you want to sit by the window, maybe cuddle up under the blanket with some tea or coffee, and just enjoy the cozy autumn vibes and enjoy the view from your window of this beautiful, beautiful season. And then, of course, can't do full reading list without some dark academia, because how can you not? And some thrillers and some horror books for the spooky season, and of course, some moody Gothic fantasy. So I have divided this list into 6 draft categories with like 3-4 books in each category. Will I read all of them? I don't know, probably not, but it's nice to have options. Now, obviously, I haven't read any of these books yet, so this list will contain some new releases and some books that I have on my shelves for like ever, and that I think might be have like this fall vibe, or I just like heard reviews that this is like something that would give me that right mood. Or sometimes it could be just the cover that gives me just fall. So I might be totally off base with some of these, and if you read them, please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts. Starting off with the obvious category, and it's a spooky horror books. So the first on the list is Slewfoot, A Tale of Bewitchery by Brom. So I have never heard about this author before, but apparently he is like a dark fantasist that's also an illustrator, and he writes like a dark stories and with the like illustrated novels. He has some other illustrated horror novels, but Slewfoot has been making waves recently in the book community, and everybody's talking about it on social media and talking about how kind of creepy and cool it is. It does have illustrated pages as well to add to the mood. So without even knowing anything about the premise, you look at the cover and it immediately gives you witchy fall horror creepiness, and I love witch stories, so this is probably right up my alley. Set in colonial England circa 1666, we have a dark spirit that awakens in the dark wood. People call it Slewfoot, and we have a story of a recently widowed woman who is forced to seek help from this dark being. It has a Puritan witch trial period setting, which in a book always has that atmospheric, dark, spooky kind of ambience. And I think it's perfect for the fall season to read. Also, I've seen glimpses of the illustrations in the book, and they seem fantastic. So, like creepy and macabre and like spooky, and they will surely add greatly to the atmosphere while you're reading and to the experience. So the next one on the list is probably more a thriller than a horror, but it is by Stephen King, so I just put it in the horror category because that's what he does, and it is The Outsider by Stephen King. So I have been checking out his works more and more, and I gotta confess that I think maybe I started like from the wrong place. I started with The Shining because I thought like it's probably like the most famous book, the most like classic King, the one that kind of put him out there way back in the 70s even. And I thought, what is the better way to start with? And also I wanted to watch the movies because I never watched the movies. So I tried to start with that one. And like 200 pages in, I kind of just put it down and never picked it back up for some reason, but I still intend to finish it someday, but it's been a couple of years now. And because of that, I was hesitating to like pick up any other of his books, even though I have like several on my shelves, and I recently kind of bought a few more because I do intend to kind of go through his bibliography. However, I am right now, as of this moment, when I'm filming this video, I am listening to the audiobook 112263, I think. Yes, 112263. This is his time traveling novel about the Kennedy assassination. And I'm enjoying it immensely, like so much. I still kind of in the middle of it. I don't know if I'm gonna finish it by the time this video come out, but I'm loving it. Like the audiobook, the narrator, it just goes all out. So highly recommend if you wanna try it, any like audiobooks. If you're just intimidated by the size of the physical book, because it looks kind of pretty big, but like in audio format, I'm just flying through it. So it inspired me to read more by Stephen King and try to check out like his other works and even maybe finish Shining one day. Like I'm excited to pick up his novels again, and I've heard a lot of good things about The Outsider, and I'm actually thinking maybe I'm just liking his later works more than his like classics. By the way, both of these novels got like a TV adaptation that I intend to watch after I finish the books, and who knows, maybe I'll make a video on the book versus movies, something like that. Could be fun. Subscribe if you don't want to miss it. It's free. The Outsider tells the story of the Terry Maitland, the Little League coach, English teacher, and father of two girls, who finds himself in the midst of an investigation of a brutal murder of 11-year-old boy, and he finds himself being a prime suspect. So there are eyewitnesses and fingerprints, as well as DNA evidence that point to him, but he does have an alibi. It's a suspense, and you're trying to figure out, did he really do it? Is he really innocent? And what is going on? I've heard that this is one of the best books from Stephen King. Very thrilling, very suspenseful, and it's just perfect reading choice for the fall season. So next on this list, I have The Rattlebones by S.M. Parker. A mysterious island, hunting visions, buried secrets, and ghosts. Seems perfect for spooky season. Rila is an 18-year-old young lady. Why did I say lady? I sound like a grandpa. Young lady. Okay. Anyways, Rila is an 18-year-old girl who has recently suffered the loss of her father. When she experiences like the sudden death of her father, the veil between the dead and the living kind of blurs, and she starts being haunted by this ghostly girl singing that is luring her into these island shores. She meets an archaeology student that is tasked with excavating this island. Together, they uncover some not so pleasant history and secrets that's trying to stay buried. So this book's supposed to be this ghostly and haunting exploration of grief and dark parts of the history, and I am hoping for some very atmospheric writing. And the last horror story on this list is Mr. Magic by Christine White. So 30 years after the accident shuts down a children's program called Mr. Magic, the 5 surviving cast members return to film a podcast about the show, but with no like surviving video or like information about like who directed or produced it, and no records of like who or what was the host of the show, Mr. Magic. So their own memories is all they have. Over the years, the show became like more of an urban legend than the actual historical event that happened. So there's like no videos, no tapes exist of this show. You can't watch it anywhere. Nobody seems to really remember any specific details about the show, including the actors themselves. So this premise gives me like a nostalgia vibes. It reminds me of like, Are You Afraid of the Dark or something like that. Maybe Black Mirror kind of vibes as well. And reviews have been predominantly positive, so I'm very excited to read this. I got it last year because I wanted to read it for like a spooky season, but never got to it, I guess. So hopefully this year is the year. Maybe even October. That would be perfect, I think, for the Halloween month. So moving on to the next category, and it will be cozy or like humorous vibes for the fall. And I'm gonna start off with one of my most anticipated releases of the year, and it is A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana. This is a cozy urban, or I guess suburban, fantasy about a witch. I loved Sangu's debut novel, The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. I think that's what it's called. Sorry, it's a long name, so I can't remember, but I'll put the cover on the front here. But I think that's what it was called, which was also a cozy kind of found family witchy fantasy. Though this one centers around a witch as well. I'm not too sure if it's like the same universe or not, but as far as I know, this is not like a continuation or a sequel to the other one. This is a totally different witch, totally different situation. So we have a promising, powerful witch who kind of loses almost all of her magic when she resurrects her recently dead aunt, and for that she kind of gets kicked out of the witches guild. So now she runs an inn with her aunt, where she's just kind of deals with like all the guest shenanigans and just trying not to fall in love with this grumpy, like magical historian that stays there. Oh, and I need to mention a mean talking fox. The story is set in like fall winter times. It is cozy. It is probably going to be a little bit humorous, a little bit romantic. So it will be a perfect magical cozy read. Also highly recommend her debut novel, as I said, A Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. That would also make a perfect cozy read. And it tells a story of a witch who becomes a tutor to these 3 orphaned little witches. A live-in tutor for 3 young orphan witches. It's like found family, romance, magic, and lots of cozy vibes. So the next one I have for you is The Humans by Matt Haig. And this is a cozy, humorous novel about humanity, but through the eyes of an alien. Previously, I have read one other book by this author. It was How to Stop Time, and while it didn't exactly wow me, I enjoyed it a great deal. I liked it, and I liked the writing, so I wanted to try some other books by him. So I do have also The Life Impossible, which I'm trying to get to at some point, but I want to read The Humans first. And I think Humans is regarded as one of the best books by this author. It is highly praised and I think have received several awards. So I am very excited to read it. So we have this extraterrestrial being sent here to Earth to kind of stop humanity to progress too quickly, because there was some breakthrough made in math that would allow the humanity to technologically advance too much in like too short of time. This race seem to be like terrified of the humanity. They think, oh, they're such savage, primitive race, and they cannot allow it. So they send this one of them to Earth to kind of bury any evidence of this breakthrough. And he assumes the identity of this math professor that made the breakthrough. And while he's living among humanity, he kind of just discovers for himself that like maybe we're not so bad. I've been seeing great reviews for this book, and I do enjoy Matt Haig's writing. And I think this will make like a great little palette cleanser in between all the dark and moody fantasies and thrillers. So the next one on this list is a cozy mystery. So this one is a sequel to Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone. The second one is called Everyone on This Train is a Suspect. I think everything you need to know about the premise is in the title, really, just as the first book. And I read the first book. I did really enjoy it. So this is the continuation of the story. While that one is completed, this is like a new story but with the same protagonist. The cozy murder mystery with a unique premise, a fun writing style, and a humorous narration by the author. So moving on to my next category, which is magical realism or just like atmospheric fiction. I want to start with the book I have been excited for quite a while now, ever since I read other book by the same author, and the author is Adrian Young, and the book's name is The Unmaking of June Pharaoh. So a couple of years ago, I read Spells for Forgetting by the same author, and I loved it. And I also read it like in the fall time, so that was just perfect timing and perfect atmosphere. And it was like a little bit slow, a little bit melancholy, with a little bit of magic in it, but it's generally speaking mystery thriller that's set in a small town with the reunion of the old friends that kind of fell apart and because of the tragedy that happened years ago. And I thought that was so atmospheric and so like fall coded and so magical, but like not overly. It's still like contemporary, but like with a little bit of magic in it, a little bit of witchiness. And I feel like this next book is gonna give me exactly like the same vibe. It's also a little small town. We have a new protagonist who is linked to this curse, to this family curse, except like at least for the women. And she is being raised by her grandmother because her mother went missing like a decade ago. So these women in this family, they are known around town for their luscious gardens and for this family curse. And when her grandmother dies, June starts finding these little clues regarding to her mother's disappearance, but it kind of leaves more questions than answers. And around the same time, she starts to having these visions and hearing things. And at some point, this mysterious door just appears, which she thinks is a hallucination at first. But with these clues new coming out, she decides to step through it, and it will take her onto this journey. And also, look at this cover. Like, if that does not scream fall to you, I don't know what is. It's a beautiful cover. It's magical. It's just yells fall time, read me in fall, and hopefully I'm gonna get to it soon. So yes, another Matt Haig book on this list, but I think The Midnight Library will have totally different vibe or a mood from Humans. Less humorous, more like contemplative and nostalgic, and perfect for this like moody, melancholy season. The synopsis says, between life and death, there is a library. Like, come on. It's perfect. We follow Nora, who finds herself in this midnight library, and the books in this library, they enable Nora to undo like every one of her regrets and like try to like work out her perfect life. So there are some trigger warnings. It deals with some heavy topics like suicide, so be aware. And I think it's more like a contemplative piece on life choices and would you change anything if you could go back, and would that like really change anything within you though. I know this one was very popular when it came out, and there's tons of great reviews for this one. So another one on here I have is not a magical realism, but it is historical fiction, and it's The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I have never read her books before, but I know they're very popular. I do have, I think, one other book by her on my shelves, and it's the newest one, The Women. But I really wanted to read Nightingale first. This is like her classic of like a classic of her works, probably the most famous, the most beloved. And honestly, I have not seen a single bad review for it. And that's probably why I decided to read it. Like, I'm not generally historical fiction kind of girl, but I have been reading more diversely lately, and I have been reading more like contemporary or just literary fiction, which includes the historical fiction. But also, this one is centered around the World War II, which since the invasion into Ukraine, I haven't been reading at all, like nothing on the war theme books, because well, we have enough of that one. Even though I don't live like I don't live in Ukraine right now. I live in Canada, but I do still have the family there, and it's just for a while like I could not bring myself to read anything like that. But I think I am now more okay with reading stuff like that. And I like sometimes even to do that because of like educational kind of purposes, I guess, and that just kind of makes you think about stuff. So I did want to just start reading her novels, and I thought this was the best place to start because this is one of her most like universally beloved novels. Decided this is the best place to start my acquaintance with the author, and I feel like now is the perfect time as well, as I have been, as I said, reading and enjoying actually more of like literary fiction, contemporary fiction, any sort of historical fiction, not just like fantasy and sci-fi, which I used to read like pretty much exclusively. And like some mystery thrillers, but mostly sci-fi and fantasy. But with some occasional exceptions of a book that would like just catch my eye with some like unique premise or something. So to be honest, I didn't even remember the premise. All I knew is just about the World War II, but I did look it up for this video, and I'm gonna tell you all about it regardless. So The Nightingale tells the story of two sisters who are separated by the age difference, by the ideals, years and experience, and passions. The events take place in like Nazi-occupied France, circa 1939, I think. And we follow the older sister who kind of finds herself living with this Nazi general who kind of commandeered her apartment after her husband died, and she and her daughter have to kind of navigate this situation in order to survive, which could be a little bit triggering because I have a family right now that's living under occupation on the south of Ukraine, so kind of know basically what that feels like. But anyways, I digress. But anyways, and on the other hand, we follow her rebellious and ideological 18-year-old sister who meets this young rebel that is part of the partisan movement in France, and who's trying to fight the Nazi from within France. Only heard good things about this novel, so hopefully I'm gonna like it. Anyway, moving on to the thrillers. So, of course, how can you not include a few thrillers in your autumn reading list? I think the thriller genre is an absolute must in the fall. You just have to throw in some thrills as well in between the coziness. And for this category, I've picked 3 books that I am very excited about, that I've been eyeballing for a while on my bookshelves, but I just wasn't in the mood for thriller, and I know that for the fall season I will be. So with the thrillers in general, I like to go in as blind as I can. Like, I don't want to know too much about the premise to have like the best reading experience possible and be surprised, where in some places sometimes if you read the blurb you wouldn't be, but then if you don't you would be. But so I'm not going to give you like a detailed synopsis because I don't know it on purpose. So let's just quickly go through this list. So the first on this list, I have All the Missing Girls by Megan Miranda. Some girls were missing and in a small town, and the story is told backwards, starting from the last day and moving to the like the first day. So, and then we figure out like what happened. Another one I have is Allegedly by Tiffany D. Jackson. So the story centers around Mary, who is recently released from prison after being convicted of a crime of murdering a child that she was tasked with taking care of. We follow her and we like unravel the story of like what really happened. Is she really guilty? Is she were innocent all along? So the last thriller on this list is the new release by Ashley Winstead. She is the author of In My Dreams I Hold the Knife, which I also hope to read one day as well. And also The Midnight is the Darkest Hour is one of her most famous ones, both of which are pretty popular and hyped books in the community, and I've been seeing like good reviews. So her new book is called This Book Will Bury Me. The synopsis says, let me read it. It's the most famous crime in modern history, but only she knows the true story. After the unexpected death of her father, college student Jane Sharp longs for a distraction from her grief. She becomes obsessed with true crime, befriending armchair detectives who teach her how to hunt killers from afar. That's it. That's all you need to know about the premise. That's it. That's all I needed to know about the premise, and I was sold. Moving on to another obvious genre for the fall reading list, and it is dark academia, because again, how can you not? So I have a few books on this list as well, and they're all pretty recent releases that I have been hearing like all kinds of great reviews about. And the first one is The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett. So The Tainted Cup is like dark academia meets cozy mystery meets Sherlock Holmes retelling, plus some magic, because of course I love magic. So in this opulent mansion, they find Imperial officer dead with like a tree sprouting from him. Let me read you the synopsis. In Daritana's most opulent mansion, a high Imperial officer lies dead, killed to all appearances when a tree spontaneously erupted from his body. So this already by itself sounds very interesting to me, very cool premise. But we have this kind of like Sherlock Holmes retelling, gender swapping. We have investigator Anna Dolabra, I think, who is like brilliant but very eccentric, and she has this assistant, like photographic perfect memory, and they will be like investigating this bizarre death of the Imperial officer. So another one, Dark Academia, that I have is Blood Over Bright Heaven by M.L. Wong. So M.L. Wong has been making waves in the community recently. She is originally a self-published author that kind of became traditionally published. She is the author of The Sword of Kagan, which I also have heard like a lot of great things, and I do have it on my shelf, but I don't feel like I'm in the mood for that one at the moment, or like will be anytime soon, but I am excited about this one, and people say this one is even better than the first one. It is a standalone fantasy, dark academia, and I have heard nothing but great things about it. So we have Sayona, who has like a lot to prove. So she wants to be the first woman admitted to this high magistrate, and when she finally becomes a high mage, she realizes that she still has a long way to go, because she's not accepted by her peers. They're making like life difficult for her and throwing obstacles wherever they can into her path. At some point, instead of like the qualified assistant, they give her a janitor instead. But what they don't know is that the janitor hasn't like always been the janitor, and he has some qualifications, I guess, or something. So together they kind of uncover this ancient secret that can change the magic forever, and we follow that journey. Anyways, and the last one, also one of my most anticipated releases of the year, and it is Catabasis by R.F. Kuang. So R.F. Kuang, I only read like The Poppy War by her, and it was like only the first book, because at the time when I just finished it, the invasion happened. And if you know the book, even though it's like the fantasy, it was like very war themed, and I just really didn't feel like reading anything like that, and I just haven't picked up the continuation yet, but I am planning to finish it at some point. I really couldn't deal with that kind of themes at the moment, but I will finish it at some time. And so the Catabasis is her newest release. It is dark academia, just like was the Babel, which I also want to read one day, but I am a little bit more excited about this one than Babel. This book is like everywhere on everybody's anticipated list, and mine included, of course. In the premise, we have two graduate students who has to go to hell to like rescue the soul of their professor. And honestly, that's all I know. That's all I need to know. And this already sounds amazing to me. Plus the cover. And the last category on this list, but it is my favorite category, and it will be Gothic Moody fantasy. So the first one I have here is The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillick. So this is again new release, one of my most anticipated ones of the year as well. This is the author of the Shepherd King duology. So the One Dark Wind duology. I have read that one. I really liked it. The romance was okay, but everything else surrounding the romance was really good. I thought the premise was pretty unique and cool, very imaginative. I loved the Shepherd King character and the main girl as well. Like, it was very interesting. Her prose is very beautiful and the characters are very compelling. So of course I had to get my hands on this new book by her, and I didn't even really know what it was about before I got all excited about it. I just knew it was by the same author, and I was like, yeah, I should check it out for sure. So from what I remember about the premise, we follow a girl who is one of the diviners, they call them. So that's the girls who are kind of predict the future in their sleep. And one day her fellow sister diviners start to go missing, and this knight shows up who doesn't respect her visions or anything like that, and they form kind of unlikely partnership to try and figure out what happened to the other girls. So far from the little I've seen, the reviews have been very positive, and I've heard that this is very gothic, atmospheric, very autumnal book, and they should have released it in autumn, not in summer. But I think this will do perfectly fine for my fall reading list. So next on the list, I have a concluding book, the third book in the Mistborn original trilogy by Brandon Sanderson. I have been slowly reading, slowly going through his bibliography as well, and I've been going through the Mistborn at the moment. So you might think, what does it have to do with the fall, though? Hear me out, okay? We have a fantasy world that is covered in constant mist and ash. All the plants and forests are brown. There is a legend that they used to be maybe something green or something, but nobody can even imagine it's green grass. What? That is so weird. But they have brown grass and trees that's barely have any foliage, and the foliage is also brown. So if that doesn't scream fall to you, I don't know what is. But it screams fall to me, and I just wanted to finish the trilogy, so I'm gonna count that in. Okay, so the magic system in these books are very also interesting and a little bit more science-like than magic. It is based on metals, so we have these people who can consume a certain metal, and then they get a certain ability from that. And we have also extra special people who are called the Mistborn, who are able to consume every metal and get every ability from those metals, because usually it's just one for the Mistlings, and then we have the Mistborn who are able to consume them all. So the Mistborn tells the story of Vin. We have this young girl orphan, well, she's 17, 18 or something, that joins this ragtag group of thieves, but who also have who are also Mistlings. Everybody has their own ability. They set out to start a revolution and overthrow this 1,000-year-old ruler over the world, which everybody thinks is he's immortal, but he's just very, very old. And so this is where Vin discovers that she's one of those Mistborns who has the ability to consume all the metals and have all those different abilities at the same time. So after I finished the second book, even though I loved the story, I thought the second book kind of suffered from the middle book syndrome, if you know what I mean, and got a little bit dragged on. But I have heard everybody's raving about the third book and saying how much better it is than the second book, and it's the perfect conclusion to this trilogy. So I'm very excited to get to it and to finally finish the original trilogy, because I do want to move on and read some other books by him. There's also a spin-off series to this in this Mistborn universe, which jumps 100 years or so, and we get the progression just like in the real world, like there's gowns showing up, like the technology and all things like that. And I think I do want to also check out those books as well. This one is called The Enchantment of Ravens, by Margaret Rogerson. She is also the author of oh my gosh, what it's called? Give me one second. The Sorcery of Thorns, and before that she wrote The Enchantment of Ravens. And this is just a little standalone fantasy as well that I think is nice kind of thing to break up those bigger ones when I'll be reading the fantasy genre. So this is one of those books that have been sitting on my shelves forever, and I've been trying to get to it. This is a young adult, which, as I mentioned probably before, I have not been reading as much lately. I've been tending to go for the adult fiction nowadays. But I do have quite a bit on my shelves that I need to go through my physical TBR to get to it finally. So this is quite small little book. It is a standalone as well, as I said. So I thought this would be just something nice to break up, a little palette cleanser in between like bigger, darker fantasies. Just like when I want to take a break and maybe read some little YA lighter, some cute romantasy. So this is one of those standard girl meets fae steals her away into the fairyland kind of story. If you know what I mean. You know, when I was prepping for this video and making some notes about the synopsis, I realized that this sounds kind of like ACOTAR fanfiction if Feyre met Lucien first. Hear me out, okay? So we have our main girl, who is a painter. We have an autumn prince that kind of commissions some painting for her from her of himself, and she commits a crime when she kind of shows him with like this sorrow in his eyes, and it seem like it is seen as weakness or whatever. So he takes her into his fairylands to stand trial for her crime. Sounds familiar, right? Like, I don't know. I'm joking, of course, but that's just kind of the thoughts that I had in my head when I was reading the synopsis. And if you know, like the premise of A Court of Thorns and Roses, I think it would sound familiar, but I don't think it's connected in any ways. But maybe I'm just too obsessed with ACOTAR that I'm just seeing stuff everywhere. So I think I'm just gonna read it and find out really like how similar it is or not. Okay. And last but definitely not least is the newest release from V.E. Schwab, and it is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. What can I say here? Lesbian vampires, historical fantasy. It is by V.E. Schwab. Honestly, again, that's all I needed to know. V.E. Schwab kind of became an author that's kind of like auto-buy after for me. I have read few of her series. I do have a couple books that I have still to get to from her, but I will at some point. And I was very excited to hear that she is coming out with this new book, which is like a darker fantasy. When she writes a book, I read it. That's all I can say. So very simple like that. I think like this one in particular is a great choice for like Gothic, Moody, fall fantasy read. I feel like her prose is always beautiful, and I feel like her particular writing style is has this like kind of melancholic flow, and I think that's exactly the vibe that I'm looking for in my fall reading. So like I don't know how to really explain it any better than that. Anyways, one of my most anticipated releases of the year as well, and I am very excited to finally read it. And that is all the books I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found some inspiration for yourself if you're looking for some moody fall reads as well. If you read any of those books, share with me in the comments below your thoughts. No spoiler, please. If you have some other suggestions, that would be great. Full reading list, also leave it down below in the comments. I would love to read them, and I'm sure any of my viewers will love to read them as well. As always, please subscribe, like, comment, all that stuff. Help my channel grow, and I will love you forever for that. We'll see you next time. Bye.